Good morning. We are here for Winds of Exchange opening. I am so excited. I've been waiting for this set for quite a while. You've seen some people say it on some of the discords, but obviously playtesting is a thing. And a very long time ago, when this was back in FFG's hand, I actually got to be part of a playtest group for this set. It's obviously changed a decent amount since then, but I've been waiting for this set for a long time because even back then, just the fun of this set was so apparent to me. The way tokens work, the way like just the new house and all the things. It's just been ah, and just waiting for Mars and Brobnar to come back into the swing of things. So super excited. Sorry it is kind of early, especially for US people. I got my box last night and I refrained from touching it until this morning. I'm not going to refrain any longer. I am ready to start opening some decks and seeing what we got. I did open one of our mats here, so I got the Reaper pledge. So one name deck, a couple other mats, and just a good number of decks here. Not sure how many we're gonna open today, but we'll just see how it goes. The other reason I'm doing it early today is because I know there's a few other people that might be streaming opening again. I think Lord of Winter might be doing one more. And it sounds like Tabletop Royale might be getting their pledge in. So I'm gonna adjust my audio just slightly here. I am closer to the mic than I was expecting before. So let's do it like that. But if Tabletop Royale gets their stuff in, we will cut over to them because they will have something that pretty much no one else has had, and that's going to be gameplay of sealed Winds of Exchange, and super excited to see that. I have gotten to play the decks a little bit since Keyforge Celebration. I didn't get to go to that, but some of my locals did, so I've been getting to play a couple of those decks, and it just looks like so much fun. But we're here to just open some decks and see what we got. Gonna start with the Grim Reminders preview. These have been really cool, really interesting. Overall, the feeling is that the power level of some of the things are a little low, but the artifact cycle that they've been showing of the curses feel really strong. Those are going to be some really nasty things to get played against you, especially if you're playing some of those bigger board style decks like Worlds Collide or Mass Mutation or even Winds of Exchange. I think they could be really good against Winds of Exchange, but we'll just have to see. Also, the signed cards, Duma the Returned, I think, is also super awesome. I can't wait to see what it means that it even has that different border. Like, it doesn't look like an anomaly, but we've seen it in a lot of different houses. So really exciting stuff there. I'm gonna take this off screen really quick because I've heard these are a beast to open. The glue here being a bit strong. Oh, or not at all. So I know other people have read this, but again, this is super exciting, and like I do want there to be some focus on Ghost Galaxy because, again, it's sad that it's going to take a while for international people to get this and stuff. But the fact that this game is back at all, the fact that we're getting to play this now, start opening this new set, when a year ago this time we basically thought this game it might just not continue at all. So you help make this possible. Your pledge to support Keyforge has made it possible to provide you with these 3 preview cards from the forthcoming 7th set, Grim Reminders. Your 3 preview cards were chosen via computer algorithm, and it's possible that at least one of these cards was produced in a very limited quantity. One might even be signed by Keyforge designer Richard Garfield. Because Grim Reminders was still in development at the time of these preview cards were printed, the cards are still subject to change prior to their official release. We hope this sneak peek will get you as excited about the future of Keyforge as we are at the Ghost Galaxy team. Um, so much good stuff. And like, again, this should just be awesome news to us in general that the next set after this one is already like well on its way. I think with some of the redesign stuff they're talking about, or things subject to change, a big part of that is Amber Pip placement. Most of the cards we've seen, a good amount of them look like they could use an Amber Pip and they don't have it on there, and I think that's One, probably just to make these like full art preview cards so they don't have that stuff in the way, but let's see what we got. And I don't remember. Okay. There we go. I don't know if that's the one that would have the signature on the back or what, but let's go ahead and just flip these one at a time. The other reason I'm doing this is to get my my reading voice going, and also to make sure I am kind of practicing my hand positioning for opening these decks. All right, so let's see what we got. We've got Blunderbore, 6-powered giant. After fight, if you are haunted, your opponent loses 2. Solid if this stays as a common. Just very good 6-power body on Brobnar. Hey, it is Orion. Welcome, Tom Graffland. I saw you followed right before the stream started, so... Oh, awesome. Welcome. Hope your NKFL season is going well. It's been... I'm I'm getting pretty pretty nervous here at the end. I think B-Hawk has to lose at least 2 games to Magic Duck for me to make it through now. Because I beat Magic Duck just this last week. He's actually a local, so it was really fun getting to play in person. But yeah, most likely going down to bronze, but been fun being in the same pod. So yeah, this is a really, really cool one. 3-0 to go to gold. The top end of our group has been crazy. Linus, who has been doing insanely good. But I think he came down from gold, right? So makes sense that he'd kind of go back up. Yeah, this is a really cool one. I think so far this is one of my favorite arts. Like, this is just crazy, like scary. I don't know if it'll autofocus super well here. It's like better focused for down there. Let me try it. There we go. I mean, like, just it fits the theme of the set so well, of it being this kind of like darker, haunted kind of thing. He's got this like haunted tree thing, and he's about to smash whatever that poor thing is. So I really like this one. It's a cool, yeah, just a cool, like, what I hope you get from a preview. Just like, this is what Brobnar is going to look like. There's going to be these haunted effects, but they're going to be big dudes that are scary and doing cool stuff. So let's look at number 2, another Brobnar, and it's the Curse of Cowardice. So these curses have all been interesting because the art on them makes them look like they should be in different houses. Like, this one has Mars. The Star Alliance one has like Brobnar stuff on it. The Unfathomable one has like Equidon on it. It's kind of strange, but it's basically like they're all calling out the other houses. This one is Treachery, so again, it goes into play under the control of your opponent. So these are just going to be so frustrating to deal with if you don't have artifact removal. But at the end of your turn, if you did not fight with any creatures this turn, you lose 2 amber. I think this might be one of the strongest ones that we've seen so far, because like, just think about having this in like a Quixelstone deck, and you give this to your opponent. If you don't even have to play creatures, you could just play Amber Pips and discard all your creatures, and they have literally no choice but to lose 2 amber each turn. Like, I kind of wonder if this gets reworked, like, to say unless your opponent has no creatures on the board or something, because like right now it's just you could abuse this so much, and we don't know if you can get 2 of them in the same deck, right? Like, that's always a possibility. So I love it. I think it's gonna be super strong, but maybe too strong. But in Brobnar, it's really interesting to see this is already 2 different cards that give -2 amber for certain effects. So a little bit more amber control in Brobnar will be kind of interesting to see. Last one we've got in here somewhere. This is from the new House Geistoid. If you are haunted, archive 2 cards from your discard pile. Otherwise, discard the top 5 cards of your deck. Fogbank reprint in Untamed would be really interesting too, because Untamed, yeah, is back in this set. Yeah, there's just going to be so many ways to abuse that card. And again, we don't know if you can get more than 1 in a deck. We don't know if you can get like the curses of other houses in a deck. We don't know. Maybe they're like the shards, and you actually always get like 2 or 3 of them in a deck. I don't know. They look like they're going to be really gross. This one is just a really cool one. Very lots and lots of utility. So if you're haunted, archive 2 cards from your discard pile. Otherwise, discard the top 5 cards of your deck. So haunted means you have 10 cards or more in your discard pile. Sorry, those. I'm gonna try and autofocus one more time. I don't know how readable those are for you guys, but let me know if audio or video is looking a little funky. I spent way too long getting stuff organized and like working this morning, so just ready to go and get this. But this one can kind of kickstart your haunted journey, discarding the top 5 cards of your deck. So even if this is your turn 1 play, you can already be 6 cards in archive. Or in discard by your second turn. So really, really strong there. But I mean, the archive ability is terrifying, right? Like just pulling 2 cards from your archive. There's no restrictions on those except that you're haunted. So it can be 2 actions of the same house, 2 creatures of the same house, whatever. And the art. So I don't know if we'll do it today or not. I saw Wizard Random open the new Keyforge Adventure. And the art on that is basically like a bunch of Geistoid stuff. I wouldn't be surprised, kind of like the other adventures, if they reuse a little bit of that art. But House Geistoid art just looks beautiful. Like it's so unique, it's so creative, but it's just so cool. And like this is a great example. It's a little bit like washed out with the green, but it's just like creepy, right? Like there's some crazy mechanical spider thing in the background, and this poor dude's just running for his life. Welcome Dinobot and Fudgeinator. I'm so excited. Just gushing over here. So, Mr. Perfect, welcome, and yes, that is a very interesting thing. Yeah, Infernus is just one of those cards where it's just like I don't think it'll ever be errated, because erratas in a physical card game are just kind of a pain. Infernus isn't unbeatable, right? It's really more that it's an unfun card to play against. And I think the thing is, cards like this can actually help with that, because if you hold this until you're haunted, you play like 2 other Geistoid actions that you really like, you can, or that have crazy pips on them, you can immediately play this and archive those to save them from Infernus. So I think, I don't know, I think there will be a lot of interesting stuff there, but in general, yeah, it is unfortunate that both Winds of Exchange and Grim Reminders look like the Infernus is gonna be a little bit mean to him. I think the one thing that is really important, though, especially with Winds of Exchange, is they've made a lot of ways to gain Amber that are not pip related, especially in Sanctum, but also in Saurian. We've got things like Epic Poem. There's a lot of like stealing and stuff. So I think it's going to be less potent than it could be, but there are definitely going to be feel bad times where it's like you create a token, they blow it up, it's your best card, they play Infernus the next card and purge that, and you never even got the effect of it. So it's just one of those things that Infernus is a thing. I think long-term people might just stop playing with it, and I think Winds of Exchange is just going to be so aggressive that Infernus won't be fast enough anyways. That can already happen in some other decks, so if they're really board centric especially. So really, really cool. Didn't get a signed card or anything, but that's fine. That's all really rare and stuff, so just excited to get those. And I'm excited for this set, but I'm way more excited for Winds of Exchange right now because it's what we got in hand. Okay, I think we got to do the name deck. That's been kind of the plan to go with the first one. So I have a problem with overthinking things. And so I think I overthought my deck name a little bit. I tried to get too much of my like handle in there. And I have like my Discord handle, which is Orion, and then I also have the channel name, which is Phlox'em. So I tried to kind of get both in there, and it ended up being a little bit clunky because I couldn't quite get all of the characters in. So what we ended up with is, I don't know if that personalized info it matters or not, but we'll go ahead and just do this. Oh no, that's fine. So we got a Raider deck. But the name is Orion Phlox'em of the Apes Library. So the Phlox'em part is the part that was kind of clunky, because I kind of I wanted it to be Phlox or Evolve, but we kind of went with a Looney Tunes style instead. Like I was thinking of like Wile E. Coyote. He's always got, you know, like the uh what is it, like Tar and Feather O-Matic or something. So went with that. It's fine. You know, the odds of these being great decks is not high, especially when the card is Raider. Raider is I don't know. It's the one token that I think is like actively designed. I don't know if poorly is the right word. It's over designed is what I think. Like poison is just not a strong mechanic, and only having it on your turn on a 1 power creature is just a little sad. So let's get that there. But yeah, the apes library is pretty fun. So we can take a look at Raider there. And I did take notes from like the other streams that have been going on. I do have tape here to show where my cards should go. So hopefully that works out. Is that, can you guys read that text? It just looks a little bit blurry on my end. But maybe it's not too bad. But this is Unfathomable. 1 power Raider gets poisoned during your turn. I don't know. Especially there's so much armor in the set too. It doesn't slow down like a Brobnar board because they can just fight into it on their turn with no problem. You're fighting with it instead of reaping if you're trying to use the poison on your turn. So it definitely not my favorite, but you know, not all of these decks are going to be completely defined by their token. So we'll see. Other houses, we've got Brobnar, Unfathomable, and Star Alliance. I think this could actually be a really strong combo. I know a lot of people are down on Star Alliance, and there are a lot of bad Star Alliance pods that we've seen so far, but I think Star Alliance can have some really awesome efficiency that I think will work really well, especially with the Unfathomable control. And then Brobnar might just be one of the best bully houses of the set, just pushing things off the board, getting a lot of amber by fighting and stuff. And it actually has some decent amber control, kind of like we saw in the Grim Reminders spoilers too. So not sad about this house combo at all. You like that Dinobot? Orion, Phlox'em. It doesn't have Mars though. How sad is that? I was hoping my shipment was delayed because someone saw it and was like, no, we gotta redo his deck so that it has Mars in it. But hopefully one of the savior decks will have Mars. But again, I'm not sad about this house combo at all, so we're just gonna go with it. But I did want to try and get, like I said, all of the house in there, or all of the content handles in there. Like I said, it's still early, so gotta keep my coffee going. The token balance is questionable. There's some that are definitely a little bit overpowered, and then some, especially like Raider, that seem underpowered. The one reason why I'm not more down on Raider is because it's from House Unfathomable, and Unfathomable is going to be arguably the best house in the set by like maybe a good margin from what I've seen him played against so far. Like it's not even funny how oppressively disruptive it can be. And so I think in one sense there might be kind of an attempt to balance the house with a bad token here, but you only have like, what I think somebody calculated, it's like maybe 6% chance of getting a token, or getting a specific token. So maybe it's a little bit more than that, but with the rares and stuff too, it's not super likely. So I don't know. Tokens were not the best way to try and balance houses. I think the tokens should have been all fairly balanced to each other, with maybe a little bit variance. But anyways, so from what I've seen, the rares are on top. So I'm going to try and pull from the bottom. It might be a little bit awkward at first, so we'll see if I switch it later on, but hoping this is kind of common to rare, house to house. So we're going to go ahead and go with the first card. Sorry for the suspense. We've got Toxicuda Venom. So some good poison redundancy. It does have a pip on there, and there are probably some good ways to use that. But again, doesn't really... Oh, I actually need to read the rules on this again, because the way that they've changed how splash damage is worded, I need to see if that actually affects splash damage too, because especially with the Brobnar and all the splash damage, that could be crazy strong, but I don't think it works that way. I'll look at that later. Kamalani. So we've got some token generation already. Destroyed. Make 2 tokens. 4 power creature. Don't mind seeing that at all. Befuddle. So this is one of those common Unfathomable cards that is going to wreck the scene. This is the new Control the Weak, and it you know, it's got its pluses and minuses compared to Control the Weak or Mark of Dis and things, but very, very good. Choose a house in your opponent's identity card. During their turn, they cannot play cards of other houses. What's interesting about that is you can still call that house and just discard all of those. So again, if you're playing like autoencoder or whatever, it's not the worst thing to see, but it's a very strong card. And if you have two of them, it can essentially lock you out from playing any cards on a turn, which we've seen on Equidon also has a card that can do that. So not sad to see that at all in here. Adult Swim. I don't want to say too much about this card, but don't overlook it, especially if you're playing older sets. This card can be so oppressive because this is a limited Maelstrom with an Amber Pip and no chains. It's so good. It's very good against Prospector, but against old sets, if you think about just like the like 2 and 3 power creatures that you're going to be playing, even if they're good ones with like efficiency or whatever, like Eddie and stuff, if those just get thrown on top of your deck, like the top of your deck gets stacked with a bunch of creatures like it does with Maelstrom. But again, this has no downside for your opponent. If they're playing around it, they, you know, can fight off their own creatures or whatever, or their tokens, if they have a bunch of tokens out, are not creatures. So they know they're going to be drawing into good actions and stuff while you're just drawing into all these creatures and all they have to do is fight them off. So they can basically stop you from gaining much amber for however many turns that they're just redrawing into all those creatures. So I think these two together are very, very brutal. Oops. I do remember Thursday. And again, I don't want to say too much, Dave, because yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about that deck, but I know it's painful. This one's shaping up, though. I'm not sad about this Unfathomable Pod at all so far. So Abyssal Sight, destroy a friendly creature. If you do, look at your opponent's hand and choose a card from it. That player discards that card. I mean, all of these together, it's just so... Oh my gosh, I keep drawing from the top. Sorry, guys. Y'all know I have Broken Axe Outpost now. Bubbles, fantastic 5-power body. Bounce to the top of the deck. Again, you can bounce something with this that's bigger than 3 power, and then Adult Swim to stack everything on top of it. Really, really good. Watch your step. If your token is better than Raider, this is a better card, but not bad again, just to get some extra value, and it's got the Amber Pip on there. So we've got a double enhanced Timoti the Damned. Definitely okay with that. So this is one of the crazy powerful creatures from the set. While you have a token creature, your opponent cannot forge keys and play make a token. Again, this is where Raider having poison just makes more sense than it only having poison on your turn, but I'm gonna stop complaining about Raider too much. Fuguru, great control. Basically just a -1 draw, chain on a stick. No! Instantly worse Unfathomable Pod. Tafiki Kraken. Sorry, somebody corrected the other day that the W is pronounced as an F. Just not a good card. Honestly, probably not the worst to just exhaust Raiders, except they can just reap instead. So, yeah, not the most happy about that. Sybil Waymare. Let's see. I know I've seen this one. At the start of your opponent's turn, that player discards the top card of their deck and exhausts each creature of that card's house. Again, just really good control, especially if you're using some of these other ones on the same turn. Yeah, Unfathomable is looking great. And Lakaboon, I didn't actually know this was back in this set, so kind of cool. It's not my favorite rare, but it does combo with Sybil Waymare there, so yeah, not sad to see that either. It's got the Skirmish and Hazardous if there's a lot of exhausted creatures. We're not doing a ton of exhausting in here aside from Sybil Waymare, so probably not going to do a whole lot, but really the hope is that these two at least become tokens. Awesome. So I mean, I'm not sad at all about that Unfathomable. It could be a little bit better in terms of the rares at the end there, but all that control is just going to be so good. So let's see what house we got next. I think it's going to be Star Alliance because I keep flipping the top of the deck and it's Brobnar. So we got Uplink. This creature gains action, make a token creature for each of this creature's non-Star Alliance neighbors. If you don't have ways to ready your creatures on the same turn, this is probably not going to do too much because, again, that Amber, most of the time for reaping, instead of using this action, will be more worth it, especially when your token is Raider, but don't mind getting Amber Pip there, especially since what is it? Transporter platform is in the set. Teamwork. If they're more enemy creatures than friendly creatures, archive teamwork. Make a token. It's not the best one of those, and it's not enhanced, so might be a discard a decent amount of time. Rogue Operation is great, just some steel and Star Alliance. Never bad to see, and there's a lot of ways to look at the top of your deck. So Recorded History, this is a very good turn 1 play. If you have cards like Lack Gaboon or Tafiki Kraken that you just never want to see again, stuff them turn 1 and move on with your life. Second one of those, so probably going to get some messy archives, but again, if you can just reduce your deck down where you're just seeing those unfathomable actions more, not a problem. Future Booster, yes. This is one of the awesome Star Alliance artifacts in the set. Omni, look at the top of your deck. You may put it on the bottom of your deck. So this one, you can check to see if you have one of these terrible rares on top, and then intentionally turn it into a token. So very happy to see that one. It's a really cool artifact. The Omni on there especially is so good. Friendly Guide. I think Friendly Guide I've heard is really good. So this is one of the creatures that you can actually kind of get to use off house and stuff. So if you put Uplink on there, you might be able to kind of make some more tokens and stuff off of that. Otherwise, it's maybe just an extra reap a lot of times, but it does have that damage pip on there too, which is really cool. CXO Tabor with a damage pip. Tabor's a fantastic card to be coming back. Lots of house cheating and stuff, so don't mind that at all, especially with the unfathomable actions we have. CR Hawkins with a damage pip, so I don't know. I guess all these damage pips are coming from Brobnar, but Hawkins, great card, especially if you're making a lot of unfathomable tokens. Detention Coil, no fighting. I mean, not bad against some Brobnar creatures if they come down, so... Or that Mars dude that just keeps fighting as long as he keeps killing stuff. Temporal Purge. Flip each token creature face up. Put each non-creature card flip this way into its owner's discard pile. So, this is a rare, and it's going to be a very variable card whether it's good or not. I think in this deck, it's actually fantastic because I don't want Raider, but this actually gets around the Tafiki Kraken play effect, because when you're flipping it, you don't activate play effects. So if I turn this into a token and then play Temporal Purge, I just flip this up and it's on the board ready to go. So I love this a lot. Also good against Prospectors, which again are going to be one of the problem tokens in this set to deal with. But so far, got some good tools. So I'm not sad about what I'm seeing in this deck at all, especially since there's just so many Amber Pips. It's just going to be a fast deck. Cultural Exchange. Your opponent puts each card from their archives into their hand. Very, very niche rare. Niche? Niche? I don't know. Niche rare. Good if your opponent is Mars and they're abducting a bunch of stuff or whatever, or... yeah, we don't have like the catch and release or anything, so not a ton of synergy with that, but there will be situations where it's good. So low creature count still on the Star Alliance side, but I'm fine with that. Got a lot of archiving and everything, so yeah, it's a cool one so far. For my name deck, I'm definitely not sad, and we're going into Brobnar now, and Brobnar has the potential to be pretty crazy, so let's see what we got. Stratosmack. 3 damage to a creature. If it destroys that creature, make a token. Some fine spot removal. Shock Herder. Definitely good. New Ganger Chieftain with Deploy. Rowdy Scald. That's where our damage pips are coming from. Probably have another one of those. Yep. And some extra Amber Pips. Might Club. It's kind of a worse Gauntlet of Command, except you can technically hit your opponent's creatures to enrage them, but that's not usually what you're going to do, so it's fine. 2 of them, definitely good if we can get some splash damage creatures in here. Or Fire Spitter, loves fighting twice on play. Krog the Clumsy, there's some of our splash damage. Bumpsy, a little bit of Amber Control, which, again, we're not seeing a ton of in this deck in general, so... Gonna have to outrace the opponent a little bit here, but it's fine. Heed the Huge, Crim Torchtooth, and then the Broken Axe Outpost. So very, very creature heavy Brobnar. At least we have a decent amount of ready and fight, but it's not really doing hardly anything else than that. So just board clear in a house. Actually, a little bit bummed by that. I think Brobnar can do cooler things than this. It's still fine, and if we can keep the pace up with Amber Pips and everything, um, I think we'll be okay. But definitely lacking on the creature control, so we're gonna have to find ways to get Modi out, see if we can protect it. There's not really much protection here, so it's gonna be a control game for the most part. But the important thing is there's actually not a ton of token generation in the deck in general, and I think with Raider that's fine with me. The one thing we want to do is have kind of that temporal purge play with Tafiki Kraken, but otherwise I think we're pretty happy overall. Broken Axe Outpost didn't get to talk about, but very cool outpost. Really strong, just deal 6 damage to something and put a very valuable creature. Yeah, it's definitely, it's not what this set's Brobnar could be. But yeah, I tried on the name. Like I said, I overthought it a little bit. I probably should have just done like my own name or just Orion or something, but I'm happy with it. It's a cool deck here. Not sad about the houses at all. Could have been a much worse Star Alliance. Could have been a better token, but yeah, I'm still happy because it's Winds of Exchange and it's in hand now. So, and we got to play it to see. I think this set, more than so many others, like playing your decks is the only way you're going to have a good way to evaluate them, which is going to make like matchups later really interesting to know how to evaluate, because there's so many crazy things that can happen. All right, awesome. I need to figure out where I'm putting these decks once I've opened them. Just stack them over here. Now it's time to move on to a savior deck. I do have 2 savior decks, which I don't remember getting 2 of them. I thought I only got 1, but I am not sad to have that. So these have been so cool. Just the art on them, like that yellow bordering and stuff, is super cool. So, ooh, that is the rare token, I believe. I'm not gonna remember the name of it. Disciple, maybe. Not my favorite house combo, although Sanctum and Saurian can do a lot. Like, they synergize really well, and then with Unfathomable, if we get some good control again, we could do some stuff. But Eternal Cullion, the Battleforged Expert. I'm just more excited about the yellow border. I think it looks so good. I really hope. I know they announced some stuff about the Vault Tours, and there's the special deck in the Vault Tour like packages. I really hope that that is something like this, where they kind of keep printing these kind of alt art decks, because that would be super cool. Yeah, so Disciple, 1 power, Sanctum. So this means I don't remember the name of the rare, but I do have a rare that overrides the token. Disciple gets +1 power and +1 armor for each monk neighbor it has. So even like looking at my name deck, all of the removal in there was fighting and damage. So if I get enough of these Disciples on board against some of that, this card can be so good. Like, it'll just stick for so long. Now against other sets, might not do that at all, and I might not have a ton of token making, but if I do, can be a very good one. So not sad about that at all. No restrictions on like fighting or reapering or anything, so it's just a big body to sit there. Starting with Unfathomable again, we've got Flounderite. So this is a linked rare, so we're also going to have So Left. They're fine. Destroyed effects that destroy your opponent's creatures. 5 recruitment drive and heavy subsidies. Heavy subsidies, I don't know if I want that card. I believe it could be good in certain circumstances, but like, if neither player has anything that synergizes with it, it just makes the game so long. So it's like, yeah, all your keys are 12 amber and that's it. Like, and again, against older sets, like if they have TMTP or whatever, it's just like, yeah, this is not good. 2 Ranrives, yeah. So like I said, I think there is synergy with that, but we'll see. Skullback Crab. 1 power poison, action steal 1. Not bad. It's gonna die most of the time, but you know, extra little amber control there. Kelpminder, never sad to see that one. I would say one of the better enhancers, just because of the 2 draws. Initiation, make a token creature. If you have fewer than 4 cards in your hand, archive Initiation. Not too tough of one to archive multiple times. Guilt Spine Netcaster. So we already got 3 capture pips in the deck. Yeah, it is just bigger. All the rest of them are 4 power, right? I don't know. I'd have to see. Got a Befuddle with a capture pip on it. That's not bad. So maybe stopping a key and kind of stopping some extra stuff. The Equidon one is 3. Or 2. The Equidon one is 2, isn't it? Or is that a different one that's just 2 Amber pips? I'd have to look again. Because there's another Equidon one that just... I think it is the 2 power one. I don't know. I'd have to see. See if I open one of those. Befuddle. Not sad to see it at all. There's our Yanthi Ghostfin. This is an interesting one. Again, it's got to stay on the board to do something. It does have elusive, but this is where, like, I don't know. Again, if your opponent's making tokens and you can kill the token and then it's a powerful creature underneath, you can purge it with this. Making disciples is good. That's our first token maker so far, I believe. Oh no, we've got the initiation. But I mean, purging creatures is never bad. It'd be really cool if it was purge just a card from a discard pile. But you can also purge your own if you want to kind of cycle your deck faster. Stir Crazy. Each ready creature captures 1 from its opponent. I think this card is awful. Like, I have 1 card that exhausts so far, and most of the time my opponent is going to have the ready creatures and not me on my turn. So, yeah, I think... So Dinobot Ghostfin's effect is cool. I think the art is fantastic. It's like, it's got the like River Styx vibe to it, right? Just looks so crazy and creepy. But Stir Crazy, I think, is just a strictly worse, what's that one? Pandemonium. So not super excited about that. So there's the other side of the linked rare. Destroy the creature on your opponent's left flank. Calp with a draw pip, so a little bit of efficiency along with slowing our opponent down. Not really too many ways to protect it so far, but Sanctum can have a lot of taunt, so maybe we can... Ooh, double Calp though. Kind of awkward because they don't stack, but having 2 of them on the board is just harder for your opponent to deal with. And then we've got another Sybil Waymare. So there's some ways to exhaust some creatures so that maybe that... what is that? Stir Crazy is doing a little bit more, but I don't know. It's not quite the Unfathomable of the last house. Not too bad, though. It's putting some creatures on the board. It's actually doing more board control because of the So Left and Flound Right and stuff, but overall, it's cool. I think Sybil Waymare, I think, will be a pretty disruptive one. One, because it's discarding the top card of their deck, so it's like you can just snipe some really good cards that way anyways. Exhausting a whole house is never a problem. If you have, which I didn't have bubbles. Do I have any way to put something on top of their deck? If you have bubbles, you can basically just choose what house they're getting exhausted. So, cool. Not sad about that, but nothing too crazy. Let's get into Saurian. Longosaur Lector can exalt to make token creatures. There's so little Amber Dump from exalting or capturing that I doubt I'm going to use that too much, but at least it gives you kind of the option. And again, if we're making a lot of disciples, they just get stronger and stronger, so not bad. Faust is great with a lot of capture and exalt. Crushing Charge, it's good if I can get at least I would have to have 5 disciples out. If I get 5 disciples on the board, then I can Crushing Charge for value. Ooh, 2 of those is not ideal. Chancellor Dexterous, exalt Chancellor Dexterous right neighbor. Turn into House Saurian. I think if this was a play or reap, that'd be better, but I don't know. Saurian can be very hit or miss in this set from what I've seen. Aquila Lone Hero, capture 1 if there are more enemy creatures than friendly. It's a big body and it can Omni, so any turn you have a little bit of extra Amber control, but not super impressed with the Dino so far. Second Aquila, there's some beef there at least, especially with the Crushing Charges if you have a couple of those, but then their ability doesn't work if you kill all their creatures. Third Aquila, all right. We're just doing all the same. Fourth Aquila. All right, Dave. One more, and this deck is yours. What's the call? Do you think it? Do you think we got it? Ah, stopped at 4. Almost got the fifth one. But it is a Serrarium, so we have a lot of stuff kind of dealing with smaller creatures. And again, if we can get the Disciples going, then they can get above this. Like if your opponent has one power creatures also, like you can just make your Disciples bigger. So I think this is actually a really good card in this set compared to how awful it was in DT. One, we've already just seen a ton of big creatures. The creatures in Unfathomable aren't too small, or they have action abilities. So really good against other small tokens. So not sad about that at all. Order Hissero, one of my favorite World Collides reprints from this set. Just super, super good action cheating. And Imperator Drusilla. Play, destroy another friendly creature. And while there are more enemy creatures, this gets splash attack for. I don't know. I think the destroyed effect could actually be really good. You know, we've got like the Floundrite and so left. But in this deck specifically, I don't know that that's like the best card. So kind of an underwhelming Saurian. Again, if you can find ways to kind of, yeah, the destroy your own creature can be really awkward. Like it's your only creature in hand or whatever. So I don't know. Underwhelming Saurian for the most part. There are some good utility things in here, and again, just a bunch of 6-power bodies. Doesn't necessarily slow down a Brobnar board, but it slows down a lot of other boards. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and I think this Faust is going to be really important when that gets played, so I'm probably going to have to hold on to that a lot of times. But with a lot of capture pips, I can tax for a decent amount without it costing me a whole lot. It's in a yeah, well, because it's also in Star Alliance, right? That's kind of the really weird thing. Like, why do they have that thing about? Oh, do I? Is my chat box working? It's not. Sorry, guys, I didn't know that. Give me 1 second. Are you guys seeing the chat on screen? I don't think we are. That's really weird. Wonder why it's doing that. Get rid of it and add it back. So this is just my normal scene that I use. Where's my chat box? Sorry, guys, slowing it down. Just making a lot of anticipation for the Sanctum House, because Sanctum House should be pretty cool. Okay, do you want to try chatting one more time? Let's see if that worked. Anyone? Got the Grey Rider. Not sad to see that at all. There we go. Okay. That's weird. I don't know why that wasn't working before. Grey Rider, awesome reprint in the set. I think this is going to be, I mean, it's always been a fantastic card. We didn't get 2 of them though. Revered Monk gets 2 armor for each of its Sanctum neighbors with Disciple as a token. Not bad. It's got the drop hip, also not bad. It's nothing too special, but again, if we're having to rely on capture a lot, having all of this armor and stuff helps a little bit. Request donations, make a token creature. It captures 2. Again, if we're able to make a decent amount of token creatures, that capturing on them, on those big bodies, could be huge. Outflank is fantastic with a Sanctum token, so liking the Sanctum so far. And we got the Nidapult. This is just one of my favorite cards from this set because like the theme is hilarious, the name is hilarious, and it's super good. There's so many things that this can synergize with. And it can work on Disciple, so if I just need to get one more fight out there, and I have a way to make a Disciple, but no other creatures in hand, this can get the Disciple out there too. Colonel Mariana, each friendly knight creature. So this is unfortunate because Disciple is not a knight, but still not a bad creature at all. It's a knight itself, so it's at least coming in to capture 1. That is our only knight so far, though. We got lots of monks. But we'll see what we get in the higher tiers here. Celestial Gorm. I don't think we've had hardly any artifacts, so this is more just to disrupt our opponent. But Wet Dis, Equidon, and Brobnar are pretty good, so yeah, I don't know. I think all the houses have some really good stuff they can do. I think Saurian is still probably my least favorite, even if they're okay. Like I don't like the way that they function in this set. Sanctum is really growing on me. Battlefield Evangelist, fight, make a token creature. Squire Recruitment, make a token creature for each friendly knight. So we do have a second knight there at least, but not too many. Shoulder Armor is fine. Just going to make these disciples or whatever bigger. Great Augur, also not a knight. After each of Great Augur's neighbors gains after fight, gain 1. And then we've got Batarial of the Gray. So this is the special rare that makes our token disciple. After Reap, ready each disciple. So we're not making a ton of tokens. I'll have to go back through and see. Yeah, no Katarina. That's the one that when she dies, she makes however many tokens are on, as there was Amber on her. So not a ton of ways to make disciples, but I think, again, they can be really sticky once they get to like 3 of them, because then that's like beating out all of like the Mars, like big, what is it? Ammonia clouds and stuff. And then I think, yeah, Batarial, if you can get Batarial down, and you can Nightapult Batarial. So if you have disciples on the board, yeah, Nightapult Batarial in, Reap with it, ready all of your disciples. So the fact that those are there is great. We've also got the Grey Rider, so if we can clear their board. We didn't really have a good board clear, though, besides the crushing charges, so we're going to have to do some fighting probably in all of our houses to kind of work on this, but again, I think this is one where I'm just going to have to play it to see. Probably nothing super crazy, but definitely not bad. And again, like the Sanctum, especially with the gold like border, so cool. I love these savior decks. Like they're so good looking. Cool. So that was Eternal Cullion, the Battleforged Expert. Another Red Archon, so kind of continuing the Red Archon theme of the named deck. I'm going to save my other savior deck for last, and let's just open a couple standard decks here. Man, I got to get good at figuring out. Ooh. So this one does not have any plastic wrap on it. There's been a few interesting packaging things that have happened with Ghost Galaxy, but again, they're figuring stuff out, so can't be too mad about it. We've got Gray, so it's already going to be a great deck. Crocothus, the Viceroy of Pain. Viceroy of Pain's not bad to see. We've got Sanctum, Saurian, Mars, and we've got the Trooper. So, going back to what I was saying about not liking how Saurians work this set, this is one of those cards. You know, there's very few things that synergize in a way that I would like them to with Exalting, and so for this guy to be used at all, you have to Exalt him. Not my favorite, but we did get Mars, so I'm going to hold out hope that this could still be a fantastic deck. Trooper is 5 power, so again, if you can capture on it and stuff, and they don't have good, like, or they're relying on ping damage or whatever, then sure, you can save Amber for a little bit from going back to your opponent, but yeah, not my favorite. It's gonna be really interesting to see how many decks actually like actively want to discard token makers versus making tokens. This might be one of them. Starting off with Saurian, though, we've got Faust. So again, it's one or the other. You're still Exalting, so like there's some synergy there, at least if you need to tax high. Second Faust, fine. Epic Poem, so again, you could just exalt with the Faust and then Epic Poem to gain some Amber, but again, you're still losing a lot of that to your opponent as soon as they kill the Trooper. So Crushing Charge, we saw that before, not fantastic, especially with the 4 power Faust, but Trooper stays alive at least. Beware the Ides from Mass Mutation, just a fine card, especially against leaders. We do have a Sorarium, so again, synergizes really well with Trooper if your opponent has smaller tokens and stuff. I think it's a great reprint in the set. Pax Oriana. So here's where, if the crushing charge or whatever can hit most of your opponent's board and you have several troopers out, you know, pack Soriana into using them. They'll exalt, but you at least can protect them for a little bit, make them really sticky. So not sad about that. I think this is going to be a turn 2. Well, I mean, it's got a combo with some board clears, unless you're kind of getting really lucky on some things. Paraguardian, a little bit more warding, but again, like pinging wards, there's so many damage pips and stuff. Like, it's just not super reliable. Inspiring Oration, we can make a bunch more troopers that will all get exalted after they do anything. I don't know. Maybe you remember, Dave. I think Trooper in one of the playtesting round was when you create it, you exalt it, but then after that, it could fight or reap for free. I kind of wonder if that would be better. I don't know. It's really interesting, but again, this is not bad. We'll see again if we get some Mars synergy. I would love a Ether Spider at this point because both Epic Poem and Inspiring Oration on Ether Spider is gross. Hedonistic Intent. Okay, so far I can exalt so many times playing through my Saurian. Ooh, I don't actually know if I know this one. Adile Tulia. Each time you exalt a friendly non-token creature. Oh, is this... Wait, each time you exalt a friendly non-token creature, make a token. So much exalting. Yeah, well, I don't know about that. The Bellator Warrior, it has no downside except for that one card. And if you can turn that card into token or just archive it with one of those Star Alliance that just archives whatever, I don't know. I think I would prefer the Bellatorian, but we'll see. I'll still play with the deck because I play every deck a couple times. This is really interesting though. Again, without a way to amber dump, it's kind of just like, well, here's amber for your opponent, but we also didn't get a legionary trainer, so they're not coming in ready or anything. I don't know. And Magistra Vita is a legacy from DT, so that's cool. We've got more exalting. So, oh my gosh. Every creature in Saurian can exalt. Or has to. Uh, I, I don't know. Unless I get a Legacy Maverick, TMP, TP, or like a Legacy Doorstep or something, this is just going to be a bit risky of a Saurian house. But at least it's good synergy with the Faust, right? You can at least, if they blow up a lot, you can tax them with a Faust. But Maverick Bury the Riches would be fantastic in this set. Sadly, that is not what we got. Let's get into the Sanctum Retribution. This is going to be a very common creature control card. Not bad at all. Another one that relies on your opponent having less creatures or more creatures than you. So they spread that out around a couple houses. Second Retribution, pretty bad to have multiples of these because you run out of that condition fast. But Amber Pip is never a bad thing. Pandulph the Provoker, I think, is going to be a great card. It's just kind of sticky body. It's got taunt. It doesn't have the deploy, but enraging an enemy creature is, again, fine against things like prospectors or whatever. It's, you know, soft control, but it's something. Ostentatious Mount goes well with our taunt creatures. You can move them in the battle line, and it gains taunt. Good with troopers too, just a big body that you can kind of stick next to any of your other important creatures. Ostentation Mount. Second one, other cool thing about this card is you can use it offensively to move one of your opponent's creatures away from taunt. Third mount. All right. Can we get the fourth? We didn't get the fourth. Okay. It's common anyway, so 5 is really the goal there. Child of Safeguard, fine reprint, deploy with taunt. Sanctum having a lot of taunt in this set, I think, is really cool. It's kind of one of those things that is needed, but the problem is there's so much splash attack in Brobnar that, like, your stuff you're taunting is just going to get blown up anyways. Battlefield Evangelist, 2 Battlefield Evangelists. It's very creature heavy Sanctum here. Light Everlasting, play a Sanctum creature anywhere in your battle line from the discard pile. It's not a bad card. I've never really seen a ton of success with it, especially without that Nightapult, but Zariel the Steadfast, Combat Cook. I don't know. It's such a niche card again. The art is hilarious, but I don't think it's a great card. Like, there's literally one house in the game that's in 2 of the 6 sets that this actually matters. And we've got the heavy subsidies. Oh no. This deck. So this is one of the decks and we talked about this when we were playtesting too, the amount of just amber tokens you need to play with this deck is hilarious. Because now this actually makes that whole Saurian group a little bit better. Because now, even if they kill him, they still have to spend 12 of it, and you can tax more with the Faust. So I don't mind this. And I can kill a lot of their stuff with, you know, the big bodies. But like, there's just going to be so much amber in everyone's pool, in all of the creatures. It's it's silly, but that actually does make this deck a lot more interesting. I will probably hate it, even if it's a good deck, but it's something at least. So we'll see how that goes. But that was almost, I guess, a couple taunts. Battle Evangelists. Lots of fighting too, so yeah, we should be able to clear their board fairly often, but that makes the retributions bad, so I don't know. It's still a silly deck. And the amount of like artifact control in this set is actually significant, whether it's trading it or just purging it or whatever, so probably can't rely on that in too many matchups either. Let's see if this Mars can redeem us. Xanthix Harvester, it's a fine reprint, especially with things like Ironic's Rebel in the set. I think it could be a very scary card. Mark II Generator, just pumping out troopers. Second Mark II Generator. Ironic's Vatminder. All right, we've got all the tokens. Ironic's Vatminder. So this is a Mars house that, like, again, I don't know if I'm going to do much Alliance or not, but this is a Mars house already if you're a token-centric Alliance deck. Oh, with the Rebel. I think this will probably be my favorite card in the set for a lot of reasons, but I think the combo potential with this card is going to be crazy if you can get things like Total Recall and stuff, or just some of the Mars tokens. I love it. It's so good. Clone Home, more token generation. And we didn't get a Mars token. This deck with a Mars token, totally different story. Second Clone Home, which wants more enemy creatures than... Oh yeah, the Xanthix Harvester. That's true, and with heavy subsidies, Xanthix Harvester is reaping for 3. That's pretty gross. Third Clone Home. This is insane. I've got the Brain Dart. Yeah, the Psychic Network will be good too, but like, think if this had a Mars token. Like, just the Mars board you could create with this is huge. Red Planet Ray Gun goes great with Ironic's Rebel because you can ready it, put the ray gun on there, and then blow something up. And then Ion Outpost, pretty friendly creature on the bottom of its owner's deck if you do make 2 tokens. Not my favorite outpost, but again, like, this Mars house is making a ridiculous amount of tokens. Like, and what's cool about tokens, and this is something that, again, we're just going to see the more we play this set, but like, I'm going to be making a bunch of trooper tokens on a Mars turn. So like, even against things like Offbird Device, it'd be so good if I had a Mars token. But basically, I'm making all these troopers on a Mars turn, so they're ready the next turn that I play Saurian. So yeah, I'll definitely look into alliances with this if I can actually pull a Mars token. I have not opened one yet, which is very sad for me because that's all I want is Mars. But there are 6 other houses in the set, I guess. So yeah, really interesting one with the trooper. I don't know. We'll see. It'll be fun to play, but I'm gonna have to empty out some of my token bins to have enough amber for it, because yeah, it's just gonna be silly. This card is ridiculous, but we're gonna see it a lot, I think. And I have no artifact control in this one, so it's just gonna be there. All right, let's do another savior deck. We're just gonna keep going. But somebody let me know, because I know Tabletop Royale said theirs was probably coming today. And again, I want to move people over there if they get it, because seeing games played is gonna be super awesome. We got an orange Archon this time. It is Jupiter, Snappy Demence Bureaucrat. Yeah, it'll definitely be a memorable deck. The amount of archiving or token making in that deck is crazy. So we'll definitely, like Dave said, I'll look into some alliance making with that. This one might have to throw Jupiter's way, because I don't know if he actually got a Jupiter deck. I guess his was named after a sun, but I think it also had Jupiter in the name. But anyways, let's see what we got. Oh, we've got, is that warrior or berserker? So this is what we want in this set. Mars Brobnar Unfathomable with a Brobnar token. I have to see. I have to remember if that's warrior or berserker, but I think that might be berserker, which would be insane because berserker is crazy. I'm excited for this one. Yeah, it is the berserker, so we are going to have Revna in here as well. This is another linked rarity one, which I've been talking on some of the discords. I think the amount of linked rarity tokens we're going to see is going to be higher than people expect, but in this case I am not sad about that because Berserker is awesome. Enters play in Rage, after fight destroy Berserker. If you have any kind of board clears or can even make just a couple of these in a turn, you're just going to wipe their board and reap with these like turn after turn, and it's going to be brutal. All right. Yeah, because if enters play ready, so gross. I love it. Let's start with the Unfathomable, though. Hopefully we get some good token generation and some good disruption. This Skullback is awkward because it might have to kill itself if you play it turn 1, but it's got a draw on there, so never bad to see that. Yeah, was that who had that? Cloggins, right? Made it to finals with Berserker or semifinals? Or did he just have a warrior? I don't remember, but it's going to be, yeah, gross. Got the Kelpminder, so plenty of pips going on there. Kamalani already making some good tokens. Probably not too hard to kill this on a Brobnar turn to just pop 2 of these guys out and do some nasty stuff. Nova had it too? Okay. Crushing Deep, very situational Amber control, but you know, this set doesn't have a ton of Amber control in general, so being able to kind of stall that last key could be really important. Befuddle with a draw, just love it. Love it. This card. We're all going to be so sick of this card after a couple months. Bubbles. Again, one of my favorites. My favorite Bubbles is a Maverick in Untamed that can recur creatures pretty well. It's really fun. Yeah, Prospector, I think, is... What's funny about Prospector is it didn't change even from when we were testing it in FFG days. And it's still that way. And all of us told them that that card is busted. So they either need to raise the other tokens up or make that one somehow worse. Second Bubbles, super happy to see that, especially with the Befuddle. You're going to be doing a lot. Warrior is good too. I think these guys entering play ready, though, is just so crazy. Because again, if your opponent's board is clear, they can reap, and they don't destroy themselves if they reap. They only destroy themselves if they fight. And if you get the Brobnar card, that bounces Brobnar creatures back to hand after they fight. Like, oh, they're going to be so disgusting. Got another enhanced Timoti. So 2 enhanced Timotis today. This one just has the damage on it, but Berserkers being your tokens, not a problem at all. It's going to be really gross. Fizzaloha, actually not bad synergy. One with the damage pips here and with Berserkers, because they'll kill themselves. So you don't care if they ready again if they fight, but if you're fighting your opponent's creatures, you can kind of keep them from readying. So fine to see that. We've got the catch and release. It's just so good. So here's your board clear to get ready for Berserkers, especially with the bubbles. So you can put creatures you really don't want to see on the top of their deck. Then catch and... I guess no, this one doesn't put stuff on top of your deck, so they don't synergize as well. But yeah, I agree. Having had this card played against me, it's definitely one of the best in the set, depending on your matchup. I think there are matchups where it doesn't do much. Like again, I think one of the interesting things we'll see with this set is people are going to bring super low creature count decks against this and Grim Reminders because of the curses, and I think just low creature count, super high Amber pips are going to just run over some of these kind of things. Because like if you're not even playing Logos or whatever, and you're just playing 6 card hands a turn and no creatures, this card doesn't do hardly anything to you. Guildspine School, kind of sad with Berserkers unless you can find a way to kill it, but Befuddled, that's true. I don't know, we'll see how it shakes out. In this deck, I'm not sad to see either of them, so Guildspine School is super awkward. Token creatures don't ready, again, without a good way to kill it. Which do we have? We don't have one of the destroy your own creature effects, so I don't know about that one. Destroy a creature with armor. There you go. So play the Guilt Spine, destroy it with Corrode. Corrode is a fantastic card. He's got 5 armor, though. You're not killing him with those damage pips. I don't know. It's not my favorite card. Hopefully it just gets turned into a token, but making 3 tokens isn't the worst depending on what your opponent's running. I mean, plenty of disruption. Again, Timoti with a 5 power token is fantastic. Befuddle with a draw. Got some other token makers in here. Double bubbles. It's going to be very disruptive. So I'm a fan. I'm a fan so far of Jupiter. I might not be able to give this one up. Sorry, Jupiter. And we're in the Mars. We got the Xanthix Harvester again. I think we're going to see a lot of this one in this set, but not a problem. Double Harvester. Kind of awkward, especially if we're just throwing Berserkers out all the time and your opponent can make tokens or force you to make tokens sometimes, so they can turn off Harvesters pretty easily, which is sad, but Scoop Up, great creature control. Mark II generator, so there's more tokens coming in from Mars. Mars needs Amber. Works great with some of those damage pips we saw and with Fizzleoha and stuff. We'll see if we get some more Mars damage in here. Something like a Ammonia Clouds would be great. Double Mars needs Amber. Yeah, not sad to see that at all. I love this card. I have an AoE deck that I actually opened really recently that has 2 Mars needs Amber, and it's been doing really well. So super excited that that's back in set. We've got the Rebel again with Double Harvester. Ooh. And we can put it in archives with the Scoop Up. Or is this non-Mars? It's non-Mars. That's sad. But still, Rebel is going to be great. Ironics Propaganda works again great with Rebel. If you're going to ready it, you can make some tokens. Clone Home. More token creation is fine. Ixal the Iron Captain. We only have one other Ironics right now, and that's the Rebel. So not doing a whole lot, but it's some good forge prevention until we can set up things like the Mars needs Amber. Airlock. I love Mars's theme of just hating all the other houses. It makes me so happy. Discard a non-Mars card from your hand. If you do, draw a card. The draw is maybe, I don't know. It's fine. Really, like, just being able to discard a card from hand every turn is not bad, right? Like, it's basically Yerk on a stick. I think this one could be Omni or something like that, but I don't know. But drawing one, usually, like we could see Library of Babel is nothing too crazy. And then we've got the Plague Master, who is after fight, after reap, but we do have the Rebel, so we can Plague Master, but it has to hit humans. So not great, but again, Sanctum is back in this set, and with double Mars needs Amber, I'm not going to complain about getting that. So not the craziest Mars house, but it's making plenty of tokens, and it's got some cool combos if we can get some draws lined up. So yeah, could be some good stuff in there, especially with the Mars needs Amber synergy. Prospector's human. Yeah, but I don't want to kill your Prospectors because then you get to draw 30 cards. And it doesn't set up Mars needs Amber because they're 1 power. All right, let's look at the Brobnar. We've got Ragnarok Prep. Make a token creature. Then if you control more creatures than your opponent loses 2. It's a great card. It's a great card with Berserker especially. That is true. But if you had 30 in play, I have bigger problems, I guess. Press Gang, make a token creature. If an enemy creature was destroyed this turn, archive Press Gang. Not a problem when your token is Berserker. If you just have this one first, fight with it, destroy opponent's creature, Press Gang to make another one, keep that archived. Health, skirmish after fight, your opponent loses 1. That's fine. Hopefully we can get a shock herder or 2 in here. Krog the Clumsy, splash attack 2. This guy's fine because he's a big body that blows stuff up. Bumpsy, a little bit more Amber control, which this deck doesn't have. I guess it's got the Mars needs Amber. Sorry, just checking the Discord. Sounds like TTR is going to marathon tomorrow. Second Bumpsy, not sad to see that at all. Big body, opponent losing Amber. Third Bumpsy, all right. Let's keep it rolling now. Can we get to 5? No. We've got Volca, which is not the best of the band members for sure, but with Berserker, it's not sad. Giving all of your Berserker splash attack 1 is not a problem, so not super sad to see that. This is just a beefy Brobnar board so far. I'd love a little bit more actions, but we'll see. Unguarded Camp is fine. We should have a lot of big dudes on the board that can capture. Heed the Huge, awesome synergy with Mars Needs Amber. Just pile the damage on stuff. Mars Needs Amber next turn, and watch him cry. Brawl in, make 2 token creatures and enrage them. Not a problem with Berserker, so good. And then we've got Revna Starsong, who is each friendly Berserker loses all after fight effects. So we play this, your Berserkers are fighting. They're entering play ready, fighting for free, and not dying. So, and she's just a 7 power. I like this deck. Brobnar, it's got a lot of token makers, so that's fine. I'm not sad about it. I think one Brick Nasty, one of the other rare that just like creates a bunch of tokens and fight with them. Could have done a little bit more, but I think the Mars Needs Amber are probably what are saving this deck, because now it has really big Amber control potential, and it already has pretty big board and Amber generation potential. So yeah, I'm a fan. Lose to the Trooper spam deck? Maybe, except for Mars Needs Amber. All those troopers getting damage on them, and then you only need to kill a couple of them, and you get so much Amber. But it is possible. There's no artifact control, right? Oh no, we have Corrode, so we can even blow up the artifact if we need to. So, and we've got Catch and Release, which is like, you don't forget this house is in here too. This against the warrior spam is, or trooper spam is just like, that's the game. They lose. So I'm not too worried about that one. This actually has a lot of utility against a lot of things. So probably just a pretty solid deck. I don't know if it'll be like crazy good or not. Gonna have to play it. But I'm pretty happy about that one for sure. Especially for a Berserker deck to have kind of good stuff in each house is awesome. So I've got a couple more decks, and then Blast Savior deck, and then I also have the Fall of House Gormengeist, which that one I want to go through quickly just because the art in it is so cool, but it's just too much fun to open decks. So we're just gonna keep going. I think this is gonna be my only opening deck stream. I have another display, but I'm gonna save that probably for some local sealed, because we actually do. I'm thankful enough to have local people to play against and lose against, but let's see. Primarily Sympathetic Lean. We've got Saurian, Star Alliance, and Equidon. This is my first Equidon deck, so that's cool. And then we got Explorer, which is not the worst token. Again, with Equidon in the deck, I would have loved an Equidon token or something, but I'm not sad about Explorer. I think being able to look at the top of your deck, and it is a reap ability, right? I'm gonna stop talking about these before I actually look at them. Yeah. After reap abilities on tokens is totally fine with me. 2 power, so it's surviving a few things. It's not surviving a lot, but being able to mill through your deck like this, I think is going to be pretty solid. There are some ways to ready and use Star Alliance things, I think, so not sad to see that at all. All right, let's go. Secure Droid. Meh. Double Secure Droid. That's fine. 4 power creatures, taunting the explorers or whatever. It's not the worst. Scout Chief Corrigier. Token Machine, not a problem. Making some Star Alliance tokens. Pyro, I think Pyro you probably ended up just putting on like one of these Secure Droids or something, just to kind of, I don't know, try and clear their board a little bit, but not the worst. But not many Amber pips so far, which is a little bit sad. We do have an Echo Reflector, so that's some Amber control. With a damage pip is not bad. There is a card, I can't remember his name. There is one card that brings upgrades back to your hand, right? It'd be nice to get that guy with Echo Reflector, but we'll see. CPO Zytar, so we're going to get some draw pips. We already see a damage pip. Might have more of those, but again, I think this cycle of these in general, like we saw the 5 power one. Who's that? What house was that? Unfathomable is probably the best, but I'd say this is definitely up there. They're all pretty good though. Just having big bodies and that armor just makes them a little bit more sticky than like Infomorph. Double Zytar, let's go. Especially with all the drop hips in the set or in the house, or sorry, in the deck with Explorer. If you're able to see what you're gonna draw before you draw it, those drop pips could get really good really fast. Selective Preservation, um, remarkably better in this set compared to DT, where you just had all kinds of different creature numbers or yeah, creature powers and stuff. In this one, you're gonna end up against any other token deck, you're gonna see tokens of 1 power and a lot of those. So you can kind of wipe a lot of tokens pretty good with that, but still not my favorite board clear. I would have loved to see Grand Alliance come back. Nurse Soto is whatever. You can try to slow down some Mars Needs Amber plays. Gruntwork, look at the top 3 cards of your deck, put them back in any order, and make a token. I think, again, it's fine. It's a good mill card. Again, we have the drop hips and stuff too. We got a damage on there. Not bad. Second Gruntwork, yeah, you're just kind of hopefully basically looking for non-Star Alliance card or looking for Star Alliance cards to turn them into tokens so that you can draw into your non-Star Alliance. I think is the best use of Gruntwork. We've got another Temporal Purge. So Temporal Purge with, what do we got? 3 token makers? Yeah, 3 token makers in Star Alliance. It's really good because if we get some really good Saurian or Equidon creatures, you can just flip them then and there. So I'm happy to see this in a couple decks. I think it's good. It's got the extra Amber Pip on there. Gonna do some really interesting things. Again, it could be double-sided because you could get some scary stuff on your opponent's side of the board, but you have the chance to like fight those or whatever first before you play this if you want. So it's a Star Alliance house. It's nothing too crazy. I think, again, your goal is going to be to try to filter out Star Alliance cards with Explorer and those Gruntworks. So, cool. All right, what do we got next? Saurian. I've got a Symposium with a Capture and an Amber. Exalt ready and use a friendly creature. If it is a token creature, exalt and ready and use another one. This one's not bad. Again, it's more exalting in Saurian, which just tired of seeing, but with Explorer especially, getting to kind of see the top of your deck, we could get some drop pips in Saurian here, so could have really good combo or just kind of like added value from being able to reap with Explorers. So not sad to see that. Second one, all the exalting, but lots of action cheating is fine with, or house cheating is fine with me. Ready and use is always good. Pale into Insignificance. With a 2 power token, it's not always a dead card, but might not be the best. It's a very interesting one. Grammaticus Thorax. We've got a lot of enhancements in this deck, which is fun. Couple captures and a damage coming from that. Epic Poem, really good to combo with those Symposiums. Hopefully we don't have too much other exalting, but a lot of capture pips will be really good with that too, so not sad to see that at all. This card is just going to be like the decks that it does synergize with well are going to gain so much amber. Another Crushing Charge, so we just don't like any of the small creatures. But where the Ides, good to see some amber pips too. Another Aquila. This deck, I don't know. We'll see if Aquila ends up being very good or not. I think the 6 power body. There we go. Oh, it's so many enhancements on such a bad card. I mean, you can make one creature super, super big with this just by making tokens because tokens enter play exhausted, right? So you can just get a couple tokens made, except we don't have any token makers in Saurian yet, right? Yeah, no, we can use tokens, but we don't have any token makers in Saurian, so I don't know. Nothing too crazy, but we do again have that drop hip, so we can reap with the Explorer using the Symposium, and then basically choose whether or not we want to draw that card. But I mean, 4 enhancements on a card is always fun. What? This is pretty cool. So another legacy, second legacy so far today, and this is Monument to Shrix. This would be super sad if this doesn't bring actual Shrix in with it, because then you'll never get its secondary ability. But my hope is this next card is Citizen Shrix. that brought in the Monument to Strix, or vice versa. I think it'd be the Monument to Strix brings in the Citizen Strix, but fantastic artifact against decks with no artifact control. Amphora Captura. So way more pips to come still. I don't think we've seen enough for this to be. We're gonna have so many pips in this deck, and again, super great with the Epic Poem, super great with the Cadet. So this is looking pretty nasty. And there's the Citizen Strix. Oh, all right. I like this. There's still a lot of exalting, but you're going to do some damage with this Saurian for sure. You've got some creature control, you've got some steal, you've got tons of capture, you have the potential to just steal straight onto artifact. So that's really, really cool. I'm a fan of that, and just really fun to get that kind of linked legacy. Because I didn't think we'd actually see hardly any mutants going forward, since we're also probably not going to see any Tide cards going forward. I kind of thought they would stick some of those as like, I don't know, at least harder to get, but Strix can get really big with the Dory upgrade. That's true. That's a good way to protect it, and you can actually protect it from a crushing charge with that. Dang, I like it. Is it just on your turn? No, it's static. I guess I won't have more exhausted creatures next to it unless my opponent is playing some of that unfathomable stuff, but all I need it would be on my turn, right? If I can just make it big enough to avoid the crushing charge or the payload. So that's really cool. I like it. Legacy Strix and Monument to Strix. It's pretty awesome. And we have Equidon as the last house, so there's all kinds of nonsense that could happen with some of those artifacts too. So let's see what we got. Oh, we've got a buggy deck. If I'm sure they did, because it seems like they did, but whoever dialed up like the specialty and rarity stuff in this set, like, I love it. I love the chaos, because we got another linked rarity here. This is going to be, should be 3 buggies, and then a really cool card to go with them. And with all of the like filtering and draw and stuff that we have so far, these should just be so good. So reveal 2 cards from your hand. If they are share a house, discard them and make a token creature. Not a problem. We're trying to get rid of our Star Alliance creatures anyways. Just toss them to the buggy. Shisniasi buggy. I don't know about trying to pronounce these. Action, lose 1 amber. If you do, draw 3 cards with a draw pip on it already. And then the Shigziso buggy. Also the art on these. Like, I know this one was spoiled a while ago, but the art on these is so good. Like, Equidon is a weird house. I don't love the name, but they did some really cool stuff. Action, destroy a friendly creature. If you do, gain 2. I don't know that we had too many destroyed effects yet, right? So I don't know if that has like tons of value, but you don't really care about destroying like a token you just made or whatever to gain amber. So Trading Frenzy, friendly creature and an enemy creature each capture 3 from their opponent. That's fine if you have, we'll see if we have ways to trade creatures off. Otherwise your goal with this one is to clear their board first and do it, but we'll see. Old Tinker, elusive, after reap, discard a card from your hand, draw a card. Good stuff. Force Retirement, destroy a creature. If you do, its controller gains 1 with a draw pip. So just good targeted removal. We don't have, outside of Saurian, we don't have a ton of creature control, so not bad to see that. Amber pip on Othoshra Recruiter. After reap, make a token creature. Tia Arhi Esquire. Each friendly non-token creature gains destroyed, make a token creature. I haven't seen it happen too much yet, but I expect this card to do some stupid stuff, especially depending on what tokens you get, or something like, especially in some of the linked rarity ones like Amberling or Blorb. If you can get this guy down and then blow up your own board, you can create some crazy value. So, because he gets it himself, right? Like, he turns himself into a token. So against board wipes especially, I think that card could be really good. The problem is if your opponent board wipes on their turn, none of your tokens are ready on your turn. So you actually probably want to do this on your turn more often than not, but still, really cool card. Scrap Scrounger. Swap an artifact from your discard pile with a card in your hand. So even if our Shrix one gets blown up, we can toss a Star Alliance card and get the artifact back. This one's got the drop hip on there too, so I'll have to go back and see. And same with the Amphora. If they try to get rid of our Amphora, just get it back with this. Has to stay on the board for a turn, but it's something. Puzzling Trinket. So we have Amphora and Puzzling Trinket. So now, if both of those are down, any pip I have. Oh no, how does that work? I guess it's a little bit redundant because this one is any of my amber pips can be capture, whereas Amphora is any of my pips can be capture. But my capture pips that were given by Amphora can also become draws and stuff. So this is kind of a crazy enhanced deck. I'm gonna have to go through and count how many enhances we actually ended up with. Staff up for the remainder of the turn when any amount of amber would be added to your pool. Make that many token creatures instead. Uh, it's very much a utility card. I think there are going to be circumstances where you really want to do this. With Explorer being my token, it's probably not nearly as valuable. But if you know your opponent is playing, TMTP or whatever, and you want to play around that, just play this once you're at 6 amber, and then you can keep playing your action cards that normally you would discard or hold so that you don't go past 6 amber, and you just make tokens instead. So, and of course, we've got the Conductor Jaria. Jaroya. After Reap, ready each friendly buggy artifact. 5 power, so is a little bit sticky. Honestly, I don't love most of the Equidon just standard creatures because there's very few play effects. They all have to kind of sit on the board for a while, and so like I think it's harder to get the value from them. So honestly, there's a good chance we try to filter mostly into our Saurian just to get that burst once our artifacts are down, but we'll see. This deck, again, without playing it, it's really hard to know exactly how it wants to play. But man, it's got some really cool stuff in there. Really excited about this. This set is going to be so much fun. I did not buy enough. Can't get into stores soon enough. All right, what time is it? It's 10:30. Again, been going for an hour and a half. I don't know if anybody else has said they're going to be back on. Let me know, guys, because I don't want to go crazy long. But I'll keep going I got at least 2 more that I'm willing to open, and then probably the, like I said, the Gormengeist too. Let's maybe do that one now. Give me 1 sec to grab that. All right, so this is Fall of House Gormengeist, a new multiplayer scenario. First one that at least finished design under Ghost Galaxy. It'll be really interesting to see how much they kind of put into these adventures. I think they're really fun, and like even for me, like I won't be able to play these decks in person for a couple days. I'm lucky enough again to be able to play them in person with other people, but like I'll probably test several of these decks against these adventures. I think they're really good for that. While we're waiting for TCO as well, it's just another fun way to kind of test decks, just kind of put them through different scenarios and stuff because the adventures will react different ways. I think it's also a good thing for like new players if they're not super into the competitive play and they kind of just want to bring whatever deck they want. Doing some of these like co-op or whatever is fun. They do take a little bit of time though, especially if you're learning the new rules. But the cool thing about this one is Geistoid art. Geistoid is going to be a really, really cool house, I think. And there's a lot of their art in here. I just don't want to see too much of this, so I might just kind of go really fast and just kind of look at some of the art pieces on here quick, kind of like with Random did. But even just the color scheme on. Sorry, I'm just crumpling stuff. This is now an ASMR stream for the worst noises you can imagine. Like this old haunted house stuff. These like, dude looks like a Christmas tree ghost. Like that's awesome, right? I'm so excited for this. This is one of the spoiled arts we saw a while ago, just on one of their news pieces. But like, oh, it's just so cool. Let me focus that quick. Like, I don't even know what's going on. Crazy ghost machine things. Like, oh, it's just so cool. Crazy haunted clock. 4 armor? I don't know what's going on there, but that's kind of scary. Chronometer, another flamethrower clock, it looks like, or lasers. Jeez. Yeah, there's some just awesome stuff. Some crazy crystal things going on. Oh, so these are actually some of the cards from Grim Reminders that we've seen already. So maybe you actually get to put some Grim Reminders cards in your deck. I have no idea. It's going to be really interesting to see. Yeah, Forbidden Tome, that's another one of the... Oh, and Ecofly. So really, they spoiled a lot of cards that were going to be spoiled in here anyways. That's fine. And again, I'll do it this way. I don't want to spoil too much of the adventure even for myself. Just looking at this beautiful art. Ecofly is really interesting. It's kind of got that weird like gramophone thing going on, so almost like a old school or like steampunk, which I guess this whole uh, adventure is kind of themed around a gramophone. I'm not sure what that's about. Near Future Lens, that's one of the anomalies we've seen. Ecoflies. Okay. Oh man, I'm excited to play this one too. I think I've only seen a couple people say they've played it so far, but especially with Sky Jedi and them being on the team to train it or to test it, should be really fun. Okay, this is another one that was actually the art was spoiled a while ago, and I think they just saw like the name of the like the name of the file or something was Singing Scythe, and that's how we kind of knew what was going on. But some kind of singing weapon. It's pretty awesome. Supply. Okay, so it looks like we've probably got some like location things going on. I saw this on Wizard Random. They got like just to make the mechanics of the adventure easier, they're just using pips, right? Like instead of saying like the opponent draws one or whatever, it just has the pips on there to make it easier. Almost like Surge maybe from like other games like this, like Lord of the Rings Adventure or whatever. But, oh, the Geistoids. Just such cool stuff. Some super ghosty stuff. Looks like just a lot of action cards here, but oh, I love the name Webster. Just some crazy like dinosaur junk pile. Vara the Indulgent. That guy looks creepy. Whoa. Yeah, man, I am this guy. We've seen that art before. Oh, I'm so excited for this set. Shadis. I wonder if that's supposed to be like a name creature or what, but very Grim Reaper-y compared to the old Grim Reaper art. Mehmet. Interesting. Infiltrator. Oh, maybe this is no. We saw this art too a while ago, and I think this might be another one of those pictures that kind of got like leaked or whatever. But again, very cool. Really, almost dislike like very Snurret with like the lamp and stuff, but it's got its own twist on it. So Harvest Skimmer, another junk pile dude. Oh, and then the Grim Reaper. So I wonder if that's kind of the boss of the scenario. All right. Well, again, I don't want to spoil too much of the scenario even for myself, but just another little taste of what's coming in Grim Reminders, and I am super excited. Okay, so we've gone through 5 decks. Should I do my last savior one now? Yeah, let's go ahead and do it. I'm not sure if I'll do another deck after this one or not. We'll see. Do actually have to be productive today. We'll get some food and stuff, but we'll do the other savior because it's been really cool. Okay, so we got another explorer deck. Again, not like the best token out there, but not sad to see it. This should be a pretty cool house combo. Brobnar, Star Alliance, and Equidon. Biotur, triple threat Quigley. Man, the Archon art, Joe. Like, just the gold border. Like, I love it. They did such a good job. There you go. Focus back up. Again, we've got the Explorer. After Reap, look at the top card of your deck. You may discard it. Not a bad ability at all on a Reap effect with a 2-power body. All right, so we're into Star Alliance first. We've got Uplink. Already saw this one. Just a good token generator if you have a creature that can't really do anything else, but pretty situational. Second Uplink. Unfortunately, again, those don't stack either, so you can't use one action to use both of these. So hopefully we get like a transporter platform or something. Specialist Guthrak. So he wants to have non-Star Alliance neighbors, so not a bad spot for Uplink, but he wants to fight and Reap to use his ability. Recorded history. Again, some of that nice archiving that Star Alliance is going to be one of the main houses for now. Second recorded history. Not sad to see that. Pyro, who just looks 10 times better in a Savior deck, right? Like all of these cards just look so good. Savior decks are... They did so well with this. I'm super happy. Second Pyro. Not super exciting. Doesn't... not bad to put on Guthrak at all, but not the craziest cards. Photon Blast. Deal 2 to an enemy creature with 1 splash. If it destroys a creature, make a token. So not bad little ping damage there. We've got CXO Tabor with an Amber Pip on him. So again, let's see that. It might be too late for a transporter platform, actually. Detention Coil. Stop things from fighting. Not bad. Collector Born. Okay, so this is where we at least get the ready and use effects with all these upgrades. So after an upgrade is attached to Collector Born, ready Collector Born, play, put an upgrade from your discard pile into your hand. So really what you probably want to do is use a couple of these archiving cards to get some of these attachments into your hand or into your archives, and then once you play him, you just play him, get an upgrade back from your discard pile, put it on him, ready, Reap, put another upgrade on him, ready, Reap, and we've got the Pyros too, which count as upgrades, so you can get like rule of 6 with him. Probably not super hard in some of these decks if you can do some good archiving and stuff, so not sad to see that at all. Ooh, and the Elfbird device, another DT callback. Each player cannot choose the same active house they choose on their previous turn. I think I would have loved maybe a little bit more house cheating in this Star Alliance for that to be a little bit better. So we'll see if it gets played or not. But it can really slow down certain decks, even just those ones that want to just build a really big board and use it turn after turn. This can really slow that down, give you a chance to find those board clears and stuff. So I got to play against Elfbird on Thursday. It was a really interesting game. Okay, not super sad. Again, no transporter platform. I think transporter platform is going to be one of the cards you're really looking for in Star Alliance in this set. But plenty of pips and stuff, so some house cheating with the Zytar. Not bad. Let's see what we got next. We've got Equidon, Trading Frenzy. So we saw this one already. Friendly creature and enemy creature each capture 3 from their opponent. Yeah, so this is the Equidon one that provides... So I think this is probably the best one, except for it's the smallest body, but enhancing for 2 amber and a draw, like that's just so much value, right? And then this one ended up with the amber and a damage pip on it, so not bad at all there. Looks like the deck is a little bit out of order, so we'll get back to that Brobnar one there. I think I actually pulled that from the wrong place, so that's my bad. Higher on, make a token. If there are a combined total of 6 or more amber between both players' pool, archive higher on. Not usually too tough of one to archive, but the question is whether you want to archive it or not. Some of these are like, you're going to have to be asking that question because you probably want to wait for the ones that actually have enhancements on them and stuff, and make sure those are the ones you're getting archived, and so you don't have like a muddy archives. But we'll see. Gemcoat Vendor, 6 power, action, steal 1, deal 1 to Gemcoat Vendor. That's fine if it can stay on the board. It's not a bad ability. Forced Retirement, destroy a creature. If you do, this controller gains 1. Again, no real good destroyed effects yet, but we'll see what we can find. Not bad to be able to just target control something too. Uncommon Currency. So this is, yeah, just again one of those artifact controls that is just going to blindside some older sets. Like if your opponent's playing auto encoder with no artifact control, you just steal it. Like they have to have played it and you have to play this. So it's a little bit slow, but it's such a big threat over the course of the game that I think it's going to be a really, really strong one to look out for. There we go. There's our destroyed effects. So each friendly token creature gains destroyed, make a token. So now we can play our Equidon dudes, blow them up with Forced Retirement, and we still get an Explorer at the end of that. So not bad at all. Trade Secrets, really good. Discard any number of Equidon cards from your hand. Steal 1 for each card discarded this way. So that's again where like planning ahead with those, what is it called? The Star Alliance cards, that yes, they make a muddy archives, but if you just wait to pull your archives until you have something like this, your next 2 turns are kind of like set, right? Or if you can play this with what's his name, CXO Tabor on the board and do it on a Star Alliance turn, that's really good. But yeah, just a good like utility card where if you just need to control Amber instead of developing, that can get you some value. Pull up Stakes with a damage pip on it. Damage pip is very relevant because that can remove a ward. Shuffle 2 friendly creatures into their owner's decks and return 4 enemy creatures into their owner's hand. Really good with tokens because if you tokenize a card that you really need, like Trade Secrets, you can just shuffle it back into your deck and then do a lot of bounce on your opponent. So not bad to see at all. Outnegotiate. Choose a card in your opponent's discard pile. Steal Amber equal to the number of bonus icons on that card and put that card on the bottom of its owner's deck. Not quite Infernus level, but very scary against certain decks, especially if they're running something like, what is it? Fertility Chant or something. So really happy to see that one too. That's a strong card. Market Crash. Destroy each non-token creature. Gain 2 chains. Just a great board wipe. Going to be a lot better, obviously, against Winds of Exchange decks, but in general, should be a really strong card. And only 2 chains for the board wipe is not bad. And then we've got Gestrutio, the Arcane, action steal 2, flip Gestrutio, the Arcane face down, it becomes a token creature. So decent amount of steal in here, and then we've got some destroyed effects too. So all in all, it's not a bad Equidon. I think a little bit more token generation is what you might see, but yeah, don't mind that at all. I think this one shaping up. Now let's see the Brobnar. Haven't got a band yet. There's always hope for the Holofest. Or, you know, just a double enhanced shock herder. So Amber and draw, deploy, play ready and fight with a neighboring creature. Love that. Second shock herder. Super happy to see those. Shock herder, like Ganger Chieftain, just a great card, especially with big Brobnar dudes. Rowdy Scald, that's where some of our enhancements are coming from. Rant and Rive, if your opponent has 8 or more, they lose half of their Amber, rounding down the loss. Got an Amber pip on there. It's good. This deck doesn't really have capture, so it's going to be hard to kind of force your opponent past up to 8, but you know, if they're getting greedy, it's a good thing to hold over them. Pound, some yeah, just a little bit of creature control, kind of like the Star Alliance one we had. Pelf, after fight, your opponent loses 1. Goes great with the shock herders because the shock herders can deploy, so it doesn't matter where this is in your battle line, you can just ready and fight with them. Jarl Svend. After an enemy creature is destroyed, fighting Jarl Svend, make a token. So a little bit more token generation, but not a ton of token generation in this deck, actually. Fresh Marks. This one's really good, especially if you have that one Equidon creature that turns all of your, or gives your creatures all destroyed, make a token. But exalting enemy creatures just to really get that burst out of being able to fight with your shock herders. Overrun again. Probably not as good in this deck, but I think just compared to Worlds Collide Brobnar, there's so many easier ways to trigger Overrun. I think it's a much better card in this set. Yes. And we got the Get Hammer. Oh, this is not quite the one I thought, but still really good with the Shock Herders. So destroyed, ready, and enrage each other friendly Brobnar creature. So again, if you can make a decent board of Brobnar, then put a Shock Herder down next to it, fight with Get Hammer, you can ready and use all of your Brobnar creatures again. So very, very good there. Blood of Titans probably looks pretty good on health. I'd have to see if there's other cards that look really good on that. Maybe the Equidon dude that steals. And Champions Challenge, we already saw it, but fantastic board clear. So we've already got 2 kind of good board wipes. And we'll have some big Brobnar dudes on the board as well. So I don't know. I think there's some really cool synergies. This is one that's probably just going to do a lot of like, it's not the like, it's not a super tricky deck to play, I don't think. Although kind of the archiving and stuff might get really interesting to know how best to, like what you're looking for and stuff, but and how much to make tokens. But yeah, it's a cool one. Man, I'm excited to play these. That's so cool. All right, guys. Think we're gonna call it there. I've got one more deck I could open. I don't remember if I have a couple more in the box aside from the unopened display. Definitely gonna leave that display for later. I could open a Unchained deck, but I think I'd rather just keep those for sealed. I didn't get a ton of those, so like if we ever want to do a sealed Unchained at our locals, I'd rather just have those for that because I don't know. I'm not expecting them to have Unchained gameplay on TCO anytime soon, although that would be hilarious. We'll just see, but super, super exciting. So let's just take a look at what we got here quick. We've got our Beater, Jupiter, which I think is probably one of the best, like the winners out of the decks so far. Crookthus, I don't know how you pronounce that. Viceroy of Pain, it's a good name at least. Eternal Cullion, I think that was the warrior deck, kind of an interesting one. Primarily Sympathetic Lean. I should put a token card on top so I can see what these all are. Disciple, Disciple one was cool. Explorer ones both look okay. Jupiter looks broken. And then we've got the Orion. Phlox'em wall of the Apes Library. I mean, I'm pretty happy with first 6 decks of the set so far. Gonna have to play with all of them to see how they really do. I think Jupiter is gonna be really, really solid. I think Orion actually had some really good stuff too. I don't think it's a bad deck. I just don't love the token, so might look at some alliances there. But so Royal Purple, they are Dinobot, who's actually in the chat, is trying to help rally some people to help the devs. I think it's Aviator has been asking a lot of rules questions to make sure that they're coding in just very niche interactions into that. But until it's not in the master vault yet. I think that's one of the big things. I don't know what the timeline looks like after it's in the master vault because they kind of have to reattach everything through the APIs instead of, I'm sure they're using some kind of standard stand-ins right now. And I don't know software at all, so I might have just made up half those words, but hopefully it happens soon. Cause I know like many are not like me and don't have locals to play with. So TCO is very important for, getting this set more played, but, I'm so excited. This is awesome stuff, and excited to play the new adventure too, and can't wait to see TTR. It sounds like again they're gonna try and do it tomorrow, and that will be our first look at basically true Winds of Exchange sealed. Because I don't think they're gonna do sealed alliance. They're just gonna open decks and play them. I think it'll be really interesting to see, and then see what happens in their tournament too. So can't wait for those guys to get going. But these are my decks, and I'm excited about my decks, and I'm gonna start playing them. So Thank you all so much for hanging out and watching. Again, I know it was kind of an awkward timing doing Saturday morning, but wanted to kind of keep space open for other people if there's going to be other openings of by people who have more decks than me. I think I ended up with 22 decks total, maybe. Um, but I'll obviously get probably a lot more when it comes out for retail. I might just do a pre-order on retail release when that comes out too. Try and get more. And again, hopefully, we're all really hoping the international stuff gets shipped soon. I know it's really hard. We went through that with mass mutation, but it's not fun. It's just the reality of a small company kind of restarting. So hopefully they can get that more streamlined for the future. But yeah, thank you all so much for hanging out, and I will let you know probably next week, next Saturday, how good or bad these decks are feeling, and we'll talk through them again. If I want to make this setup, because my camera setup got stupid today. It was way harder than it should have been. So maybe I won't do it like this again. But all right. I don't know how to do a sign off, obviously. So we're just going to shut it off here. Thank you again so much for watching, and we will see you later.